Look at that kind of quality. You got to go to auction lots to get that kind of quality. I'm bringing it to you in your living room. Welcome to the video, welcome to the channel. We are right back on the Ford 555 rebuild project. Let me get you caught up to speed if you're new to it. A full playlist in the description from the day we got this thing from Clint from CNC Equipment. They were nice enough to drag this thing out of the woods and truck it down to southern Indiana for it. We did an in-frame rebuild on the engine, several new engine parts and components. Now we're working on getting the quick attach bucket done and the frame reinforcement and counterweights, just the nose area in general, all finished up and ready to go. Basically, we got an old clapped out Ranwin parked backhoe and we're rebuilding it into something good and reliable because my budget doesn't allow for anything new and shiny, especially just for using around the homestead. So here's what we're going to do today. The big goal by the end of this video is to get these plates on and welded up. It means we've got to get them mounted up in here and weld a big old honking joint on that. Which means not only do I have a tremendous amount of welding to do, but we've got to get all the counterweights mounted back up, and I got to get some fabrication work done so we can get the grill reinserted and that ready to go. And then that way we can get this part put back together, those oil cooler lines we had to take off. Hopefully get a coat or two of enamel out here on the stick. Maybe, just maybe, we might do the old Ritchie Brothers special on these two front pillars because they are the worst looking out of everything. Hopefully, if I get everything finished, is getting trucked up a couple hours north of me to a job, which is going to be insanity. But we're putting this baby to work in the real world. So this is painted both sides. Got a little bit of dew last night, nothing crazy. But this plate here, I think, yeah, this plate here, oh gosh, needs cleaned up, primed, and painted. So let's go ahead and get that knocked out first so it's got a little bit of time to dry. Let's go ahead and get that out of the way. Just go run a 40 grip benchmark abrasive flap wheel disc over it. This one has a tremendous amount of moisture on it yet, so we're going to let those dry out. I wiped them off, but they need a little bit of air time. So if you remember on the previous video, the bit I had broke. So the Admiral picked up a new bit for me on her way home from work. We're going to finish the final size on the holes on this plate. Next, I need to get that counterweight drug back underneath the machine and spun around the right way and slowly start getting it lifted up to where it needs to be. So I got to get that weight up on top of this jack so we can lift the whole thing up. got an idea. One more. I got this right here. It's held in by the cylinder lock. See, we come along down, pick that thing up, swing it on top of the jack, roll it underneath. It was a little awkward, but it beats blowing my back out, that's for sure. Might have to use the pry bar against the bucket to get her to roll initially, but I think that's going to do the trick for us. Probably I'll just leave this on here until we get it where we need it, in case she slides or falls. Let's definitely not do that. Oh man. So we're about as far in as we need to go, but I gotta get that away a little bit. Hopefully we can just kind of maybe walk it over with the jack again. Maybe I can hook this and just pull the whole jack. There we go. I guess let's get this mess out of the way, and we'll see if we can't get her lifted up into place. Oh, I'm hitting the bucket. So I really don't know. It looks like it needs to go back a little bit, but until I get a plate up here, it's going to be kind of hard to tell. Definitely going to have some touch up to do, but that's okay. So the next step, even a little bit more sketchy than this, and I'm a little nervous about how it's all going to line up. We got to get the 3/4 plate we made and the counterweight all up on here. We got to get these holes started, and then we'll adjust that bottom counterweight to get those holes started. I already took the impact and some cleaner, and I ran both of these holes in and out to clean them to make sure they're good. I probably ought to do the same thing on the counterweight real quick, and then we'll see how she goes. I need to rig something up that plate can sit on, but I got to get it all balanced and lined up. I got to get all these holes lined. I don't know how I'm going to do this here. Give me a minute. Look at that. It's like a whole table. So, you know, metal on metal, that's always really stable. I got jack needs to be underneath though. Otherwise it's just going to flip up. They're way too high with this setup. Not something I expected to be too high. Let's try it like that. Better. So we've got this fancy plate here. See? Look how much room for activities we got. A little nervous about this. We'll see how it goes. Right. Now what? This is neat. Nope. Nope. Okay. Okay, cool. Cool. Everything's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. Let's see how much. There. Okay. Pause. Pause. Okay. Now, let's see. Where's that hole at? Right there. Oh, I lost a washer. Right in just a little bit. Oh. Okay, all right, okay. And we'll take the cutoff wheel and just make a little kerf notch. And that'll allow me to go up. I don't know if you can see that. That'll allow me to go up the height I need. That's what we're looking like now. Now there's still a pretty good gap, but I'm not going to try to pull anything tight together until we got all the bolts in all the way around. I don't want to be fighting myself if I don't have to. What we've got to do next is try to get, wow, those line up pretty well. Try to get these holes on the plate lined up to that front nose counterweight. I need this to go back probably, oh, let's see here. Oh, probably 1/2 inch or so. Well, kind of something like that. So close. Oh, so close. That one is started. So now I just got to get this one started and we'll be ready to move to the other side. So for this one to line up, I need the back of the weight to come down, and the way I have the jack, I'm having a little trouble getting it to roll the way I want it to. I think the best bet is just go ahead and get the other side on. Get this bolt started. Oops, right there. Get that bolt started on the other side, then we can pull the jack out, let it drop, and we'll get the back to roll for us. You see, what had happened was, see these two holes? They were like a 1/16 off, an 1/8 off or so. Well, let's call it a heavy 1/8. Matching up this way, elevation was fine, and those were looking pretty decent. Man, my drill bit doled out pretty quick on me, and I was having a heck of a time going through that. So I ended up taking the torch and just washing them out to 7/8 size or close to it, and then just cleaning the inside out. So the size is pretty accurate with the drill bit, which worked. Well, it worked. Now let's just go with that. So I did rearrange the jacks here too, though. Well, let's get this one going. See if we can finally get this one on. Get everything buttoned up, and maybe we can even run a few beads of weld before that storm rolls through. Wonderful. Looks good. Set that there. We'll set that there. You'll see. And that's just going to balance, aren't you? Oh gosh. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. There we go. Oh dear. Oh, can you guys grab that for me? Oh, let's do the old foot stretch. Oh, mint. Beautiful. Oh yes. Oh, hey bud. I need you to hang out for me. Looky there. Oh. When I tell you the first round was a battle. My plan was to just do a before and after and be like, boom, it's done. It just didn't work out that way. But we got her up there now. Let's see how these line up down below. So it's actually the following morning. I got my little inexpensive Perform Max sander, grinder, whatever you want to call it. I need to sharpen up my 7/8 bit because I need to widen out those holes on that bottom counterweight. The top holes are matching up pretty good and pretty tight, and I'm pretty happy with it. Them bottom holes, they're just not quite where they need to be, and all they have to do is hold that counterweight on. So I'm going to widen them out a little bit with the 7/8 bit. These things are crazy expensive, so when they get dull, we sharpen them. Don't want a bunch of metal shavings in the threads, that'd be bad. And then a little bit of, just to kind of help us get going here. Look at that. Almost too easy. Oh, we need to take that back out, weld the hole back up. That was too easy. Let's go run these all in by hand. That way I can get a decent feel on them. So I measured the bolts before I took this off, and I thought, well, they should be long enough, but something I forgot about is those weights have little nipples on the back to give it a little bit of a standoff. See that gap? That's the way that's cast. So there's that and that I didn't take into consideration, which is about 1/2 inch worth of threads that it needs. So we're going to pick up some longer ones just to be on the safe side. But it doesn't look, yeah, standoff we're talking about right there. Not going to hurt anything. It looks pretty good. It does make me a little nervous about the clearance. I did measure and I had plenty of clearance, but you still get nervous until you actually run the loader arms past it. We'll get cleaned up from that mess, kind of get all the welding stuff drug out and set up for the next step, which is going to be running some weld, and a lot of it. I'm all switched over and ready to go. I've got welding jacket all tucked up in there, trying to protect me best I can. No, trying to protect the engine the best I can. I got a Goodwill flannel protecting me the best I can. Road sign protecting everything else under there. I've got some 1/8 inch 7018, and I got a little bit of 1/8 inch 6011 left over. That's what I'm going to use to try to burn it in at the beginning. I wish I had some more of this, but we're running what we got. I think we'll be okay with it. I say it every time I weld. I'm not a welder. I just can't afford one. But we're going to make the best out of this. We kind of do our own stunts on this channel, in case you haven't noticed. Not mad about it, but I'm not gonna show you up close. So here's what we're looking like on this side. Those 6011s are pretty old and they just weren't striking very good for me. So I switched over to the 7018s. We're burning in pretty good. I'm pretty happy with the way she's getting in there. I want to go ahead and hop to the other side and get that same thing ran on the other side. I can't imagine this creating enough heat to, you know, pull anything one way or another, but heat does some pretty crazy. But let's just do the old better safe than sorry and get this side caught up. We do have to do something over here, and I'll show you in a second. So on this side, you see how those are pushed in on these keys, or whatever you'd like to call them. They need to be brought out so I can get that more flush with that plate. See how this side is? Ends of those are flush with the plate. Hoping I can take this fella here, slide it in there, maybe give her a few taps and see what she does. Oh, feller, we were close too. Dad, Connor, hold still. You're almost there. I got this chunk left over from making those plates. I'm gonna take a grinder and clean that up. There. So here's how this side turned out. We got this feller a little wild. Pretty excited to be part of the party. But I just went back and forth with the rod and then just made rows. And then on my last pass, I kind of made a wide pass, just kind of tying the tops of those rows together. I don't know if that's the right thing to do. I was just trying to pretty it up a little bit. Not that it matters. I'm going to try to get a flap wheel in here and maybe clean that up a little bit. At least this feller right there. I'm going to, we're going to run that next while we're over here. Let's just go ahead and do it. I am going to take the hammer and give it one good shove that way and take that wedge out. Cool to the touch. Good. That's good. Not cool to the touch. Okay. That's fine. I'm gonna take a cutoff wheel and open that up just a little bit more. That way I can make sure I get my rod in there deep enough. Way better. Look at all the penetration we can get in there now, bud, huh? All right, let's run that out. Alright, well, prepare yourself here. Well, that's what we ended up with there. I want to run a couple more passes there to clean it up, but I'm running a little shy on rods, so I want to get the other side caught up to at least this point. If we got any left over, then I'll probably grind her down and take some rods and fill in any of the low spots just to pretty it up a little bit. But I think structurally, we're pretty sound. Just wanted to give you a quick update on the progress. Ignore that spot at the bottom. She's getting there. And that's where we're sitting now. I'm down to 5 rods. We're gonna get what we can there, and then we're just gonna have to move on to the next thing for today. Next thing I'm gonna do, kind of let everything cool off. We're gonna get this cleaned up, get this area painted. Gonna go ahead and clean up this axle, these hubs a little bit, so we could go ahead and get some primer on those. We're gonna run these pillars. They're the worst looking thing on the tractor at this point in time. We're gonna go ahead and clean that a little bit, get a half butted coat of primer on that. Same thing on this side here. I am we'll clean this weld up just a little bit. It's not quite as decent. If I can get in there, I want to take this fella off right here, just that. And everything else is just going to get the cup wheel treatment, with the exception of these cylinders. You're going to see me not paint these cylinders. These will come off in the future because the seals need replaced. This is the weak point in my power steering right now, is these cylinders. They're going to come off. When they come off, we'll paint them up that way. But right now, we're just going to do everything else. Oh, I wonder if that's probably fine. I mean, look at that. Look at that kind of quality. You got to go to auction lots to get that kind of quality. I'm bringing it to you in your living room. Look at that. So on this pillar, I am going to use that POR15 though. I don't know if you can make out just how crazy the rust is on this pillar, but it's pretty deep seated in there. I don't know. I think this used to be, the guess seems to be that this used to be used for utility or maybe a scrapyard, but they got into something corrosive on this machine, either salt or battery acid. Who knows, really? Not me. But that's some pretty nasty stuff, so we're going to use that POR15 on there. I'm curious, though, everybody said you can't get the lid off, or it's hard to get the lid off the second time you use it, so let's find out. Oh, well, it doesn't seem like it's going great so far. Just make us a little pour spout there. I don't think that's the best way. Obviously, there's a disclaimer in the description for a reason. I wouldn't, don't do that, you know? All right, so I just got home from work, and unfortunately, it rained last night, and it's supposed to rain on and off today, as you can see by the moisture. So we're not going to be putting any paint on any of this. We're not going to risk it, but this is what she looks like, and it's not too bad. Pretty daggone happy with it. What we can do real quick, though, I went to the old Tractor Supply Co. and picked up some fancy new bolts. So we can go ahead and run those longer bolts in, so we got the right length bolts for our weights and our fish plates. So in theory, we should just be able to run these old ones out and run the new ones in, because everything should stay lined up as long as we do one at a time. But I've been wrong before. And I did get, make sure they actually fit, new washer and lock washer. Well, that's what happens when you're in a hurry and you're not paying attention to the bolts in the bolt bin. That's not a 3/4 bolt. Shoot! I was also hoping to get these counterweights here put into place, but here's what I noticed. See how that's got a little bevel on her there? And there's a bevel on the bottom of this. Those bevels overlapped. Now that this sticks out because of that plate, that means that top counterweight is just a shade too long. I need to get a measurement from the bottom of the hole to the top of that plate and see what I need to trim those weights to. Top of the plate, the bottom of the hole is 9 inches. Let's see if it's the same on both. It is. It's 9.5 to the very bottom of the plate. So I need to cut a 1/2 inch off, and I don't feel like fighting it. So let's just trim, let's cut 3/4 inch off the bottom of that plate. Well, I'm having some issues with the old miller there. I'll tell you what they are in a second in case somebody's experienced it. They can help me out with it as well. But luckily I bought this not too long ago, used off Facebook Marketplace. It's only been used twice, I believe they said. I need to test this thing out anyway, so it's like one of those blessings in disguise, you know? Just that really horrible timing. Good little test for that new little generator. Seems to run pretty good. I'm kind of anxious to get some propane on it, see how it does with that. Got that one plate cut and a little bit of primer on the bottom of it. Rain's supposed to hold off long enough for that primer to dry, but I gotta go. So I don't get to get the other one cut. I don't get to get them painted. I don't get to get them put on there. But if you subscribe and you stay tuned, the next video is gonna be getting those plates finished up and putting on, get some paint on where we didn't get the paint put on this video, and the quick attach on this bucket, which I'm pretty excited about. And probably in a couple videos, I'll reveal this job we got coming up. I'm pretty excited about it, terribly nervous about it, very anxious about it, ready to get to it and get started so I can problem solve my way through it. It's gonna be pretty good, and I promise I will present and refresh everybody with the progress project board on the next video as well, so we're all on the same page. I can't thank you guys enough for watching. I definitely appreciate you being here, and I hope I'm lucky enough to catch you on the next one. I mean, who would want to miss this? It's gonna be great. It's gonna be something.